Ahoy there. Today on the Red Sea, what is the weirdest / craziest thing you have seen a customer do? During high school I worked as a projectionist in a movie theater. One night while I was hanging out with the manager in the concession booth, waiting for the last shows to get done so we could close up, a guy comes out of one of the theaters with his family and demands to speak to a manager. So my manager turns around and asks what the problem is. The guy starts screaming that he wants his money back because he went into the wrong movie. The guy mistakenly went into Without a Paddle instead of Anacondas. He kept saying the snakes never came. The snakes never came. The movie was almost done at this point, so there was no way we were going to give his money back. So my manager offered passes to come back again. The guy flips out, pushes my manager out of the way and runs upstairs into the projection booth to try and get into our office or something. At this point I get on the phone to call the police. Just as I'm about to hang up, the guy comes back downstairs and sees me on the phone. He grabs a metal chair and throws it across the lobby at me about 20 feet. I dodge it and smashes a giant glass window. At that moment our undercover cop was driving back, heard the call and saw the smashed window, so comes flying in and tackles the guy down. This was all in front of the guy's two kids and wife, who were super embarrassed in the corner of the lobby. Just one of many ridiculous nights at the theater. So, while I was working at a portrait studio inside a mall, I had a mother and daughter come in for a first communion photo shoot. Out on the floor there are huge TVs on the wall, so the customers can view and choose the photos they like, and tables for other families to sit at while waiting for their own photos to be taken. After the shoot I sat with both of them out on the floor in front of one of the TV stations so she can see the pictures I just took of her daughter. The girl must have been closer to 8 years old and had already changed out of her first communion dress. While I'm clicking through the pictures, the girl starts tugging at her mom and asking for some. The mother eventually gave in to the girl's demands and told her to stand in front of her. The woman begins to lift her shirt and reveals that she is very not wearing a bra and that she has awkwardly large nipples. I guess that is the sort of other thing you notice when you're blindsided by nip. The girl starts to breastfeed and I'm just sitting there with my mouth open, and it probably looked like I wanted some or something. I just vigorously clicked through the rest of the pictures, and while I sat there trying not to make eye contact, all I hear is the whole room going silent. It was one of those should I call Maury moments. To sum it up, a customer breastfed her 8-year-old daughter in front of me and the rest of the customers at a portrait studio. I work at Staples in Canada, and one blustery winter morning, no cars were on the road, and us employees had trudged to work expecting it would not be a very busy day. 15 minutes before we opened, the man was yelling and banging on our automatic sliding doors, and he eventually hit it so hard it busted open inwards, and he stormed in yelling, "I need white out." This is a bit of a long story, but bear with me, it's worth it. When I was doing merchandise for a Cirque du Soleil show in Los Angeles, I was asked to work in the VIP tent one night to cover for someone absent. I usually work the main area. I fully expected to start taking mental notes of all the celebrities I was sure to see. We regularly turned paparazzi away from our tents because it was the in thing to go do for Hollywood types during its run. Anyway, as the night goes on, the tent seems pretty empty, especially considering that we'd been selling out both of them every night in a row for 2 weeks straight. Then it all makes sense. A 54 blonde bimbo who looked like she dipped her entire face into a vat of foundation comes in wearing the skimpiest dress I have ever seen and 4 heels, clearly intoxicated, accompanied by the 2 hugest men I have ever seen in my life, dressed in Italian suits, those wiggly one-ear headphones, and black sunglasses, and a middle-aged vaguely ethnic woman dressed in a similar suit/earpiece. The bimbo proceeds to walk over to the table where they had complimentary glasses of wine and plates of fine desserts, and downs 8 glasses of champagne like shots in the span of 40 seconds. Everyone in the tent is whispering and gossiping, trying to figure out who the hell she is. I ask my manager if we should evict her, and she just says no. They bought out half of the tent. Let them do whatever. To put that in perspective, half a night's VIP tickets would cost them $7,500. While everyone is glancing over at the bimbo's antics, the middle-aged woman walks over to my register. As she gets closer, I can sense something odd about her. The way she carried herself suggested extreme confidence and class. She asks me in the most perfect Queen's English I have ever heard in my entire life, "Do these DVDs contain the entire performance of each show?" To which I reply something like, "Yes mum. Special features 2 It'll have one of each ... The soundtracks too," said with the most subtle smile I have ever witnessed. I rang it up, and I just remember it was in the hundreds. At intermission, there's a big commotion in the patio area between the VIP tent and the big top. The two gigantic private security guys are carrying the bimbo out of the tent completely passed out and apparently reeking of vomit. The rest of the night goes on quietly, with no sight or mention of that odd group of four, until everyone's sitting around waiting to be clocked out and chatting about the night's events. The manager, with a smile on her face, says something like thanks for putting up with that. The blonde girl was just a diversion. That woman she was with was Haya Haseen. Who? Oh. She's the queen of Dubai. Some maladjusted space cadet customer in a ridiculous ad/clothing ensemble was pushing her baby carriage around the furniture store. She was mumbling weirdo noises into this baby carriage. It was not quite baby talk, more like a chitty you'd make at a squirrel, but with some voice inflection. Anyway, I was about to approach her when a cat leapt out of the baby carriage. Scared the hell out of me. It jumped onto an entertainment center, and she picked it up and put it back in her carriage. She had one other cat and a rabbit in there. Furniture shopping. Years back when I worked at the mall, our store had a regular customer who always came in wearing a hoodie. In the hood of the hoodie was his pet ferret. Mostly it slept like it was in a hammock, but sometimes it would get out on his shoulders. I posted something about this in a thread a while back. Back when I was taking my bachelor's degree program, I was working in a fast food pita typed restaurant. It was set up kind of like Subway, where you select everything you want on the pita. The only difference was that we cut up all the Vegas fresh, and the meat was nice quality that we cooked on a grill. At night time in the winter, Canada, we did not usually get many customers. One particular night I was working alone near closing time with a medium strength blizzard outside. I had not had anyone come in a couple hours and was brushing up on my class notes for the week, feeling pretty good about being paid to study. Unfortunately, a customer walked in, so I pleasantly walk up to serve him. He was an average looking guy, maybe a little haggard looking, just tired and stressed from driving in the storm I thought. He ordered a chicken pita with extra peppers, so I put the peppers in, and he said no, more peppers. I need more peppers. I put the peppers in free of charge. They were going to be thrown out at the end of the night anyways. New Vegas every morning and afternoon. It was loaded with peppers, and he seemed happy. He thanked me and left a couple lunas as a tip. Pretty good tip for a cheap fast food place, and went to the back of the store to eat it. This is where it gets interesting. He literally had a mental breakdown right in front of me. He took a few bites of his pita, then slammed it down on the table. He started screaming about how much he hates peppers. I hate peppers, why would you put peppers? Then started just screaming incoherently. What followed is probably the strangest thing I have ever seen. He took off his parka to show that he was not wearing a shirt underneath. Then started rubbing the peppers from his now destroyed pita on his chest. At this point I pick up the phone to call an ambulance. I was not really afraid for my safety, given that I'm not the smallest guy and I was standing a few feet from several large industrial grade knives. This guy was straight up flipping out. He was knocking chairs over and walked up to the cooler full of bottled drinks. He pulled the cooler over, almost onto himself, and all the drinks smashed on the floor. Then he went and curled up in a ball on the floor crying. The dispatcher had decided to send over the police as well, and it did not take long for them to get there, since the station is right down the street. They loaded him up into the ambulance and took him away, and I filled out a police report. There was only a couple $100 in damage, which the business insurance covered, and I never heard anything about the guy again. To sum it up, man goes insane in pita restaurant, rubs hot peppers all over his naked chest. Was working as a waiter. Know those super competitive guys who both want the check? Started off casually. Guy A. After ordering. And get whatever you want. This is on me. Guy B. No. Guy A. Well see. This escalated again mid-dinner. At which point Guy B's wife pulled me aside at our reception desk and begged for me to give her husband the check. I was a bit floored and just said I'd see what I could do. Asked the manager his advice, as it was getting uncomfortable. He said head drop the check as head had these people in previously. I peek as he drops the check. Voices raised. Glasses break. Full on fist fight. Why they did not split the damn thing is beyond me. I worked at a library once, and a man shoved a full box of pizza, with a pepperoni pizza still inside it, into the outside book deposit. When I worked at the downtown library in high school, someone put a lunch bag full of malarkey into the book return at night on Saturday. We do not process returns on Sunday, so when everyone got back in on Monday it had been sitting in there for at least 2 days with books sliding down and smashing into it. They ended up having to completely throw out the book return, all of the books, and rip up the walls and carpets close to the book return. It had splattered so much. Who the hell does malarkey like that? When I used to work at Kroger in high school, Summation lady allowed her son to urinate in a produce bag while they were in the produce section. She then tied it off and hung it on her carts for the remainder of the shopping trip. There used to be a woman and a daughter that would come to the restaurant I work at all the time. The daughter was mentally handicapped to some degree and would eat the large portions of food we served her extremely fast, often causing her to vomit it back up. The mother would tell her to slow down, but nothing much worked. At first the management understood and respected the situation, but when the daughter started to come to the restaurant alone and continuously vomit her meals up, we had to ban her. When I was in high school, I worked in the produce department of a large grocery store. I was bent over getting some product from the bottom of my work cart when an old man came right over to me and farted in my face. Also at the same store, I saw another old man shake a small turd from his pant leg. I guess he malarkey himself, and it rolled right down his leg, gone onto the tile floor. I'm an office manager for a watch repair and retail shop, and I had a customer bringing a pile of garbage from her car, including a pencil, multiple Kleenexes, a McDonald's toy, scraps of paper, gum wrappers, and general dirt, and drop it on my desk. She said I was cleaning out my car and I do not have a trash can. Awesome. Non-ninja Reddit to add the other craziest customer. Old man comes in while I'm eating lunch at my desk. I went back to grab his watch from the back room, came up front, and he was eating my chips. Head reached across my desk, over my computer, and grabbed my food to eat it. I said, "Are you eating my chips?" And he said, "Well, I was just going to have a few," then dropped them back on my desk. I work behind a bar, so I have seen my fair share of crazy things. The one that sticks out was when we were closing and everyone was making their way out, except this one guy who stood at the bar trying to talk to us. I was clearing all the glasses away and pouring all the dregs into a pint glass. By the time I was halfway down the bar, I had a pint glass full of alcohol from about 20 different glasses. Everything from lager to vodka, Guinness to wine. I put it down to lift the hatch to get into the bar, and the drunk guy grabs a glass and just starts chugging it. I can only look on in horror as he gulps down the entire thing, wipes his mouth, burps, then stumbles out. Makes me sick just thinking about it. I was working at a pizza store downtown, and this Asian dude with a plastic bag, a raggedy plaid coat and a cool mustache came into the store. He did not speak very coherently and tried telling us that he did not have enough money for pizza but still wanted pizza. He put his jacket and plastic bag down on the table nearest the door. He went around the store asking other customers for money for pizza. Someone must have given him some change because he came up with enough. We sold him a slice and he went back to his table and began eating without sitting down. All of a sudden, he starts talking to himself and swearing and things. And my coworker is like, "No, you gotta leave." He takes off out of the store and runs off, leaving his plastic bag and jacket there. Roughly half an hour later, my coworker goes for her break. She comes back telling me that she saw the same guy sitting outside McDonald's flipping people off that walked by, and he ended up giving the finger to a couple of cops. Not even 5 minutes later we see the same guy running past the store, followed by 2 cops. I worked in a general store that was down the road from 2 penitentiaries, so we got a lot of visitors that would then be heading that way. This one guy comes in and asks if we have any Vaseline, and I quickly point out that we do not. It was obvious to me that this guy was going to stuff some drugs up his, but as I normally use our washroom for. He then sees some baby oil and buys that. He immediately jolts off to the washroom and spends a good 20 minutes in there. By the time he comes out, it's really busy and I barely notice or even remember him. Another 20 minutes pass and I go to check the cleanliness of the washroom. I grab the door to open it, covered in baby oil. Flick the light switch on. Baby oil. Once I see inside, it's a massacre. Baby oil is on every possible surface from the mirror to the toilet and even the toilet plunger. Just another day at work. Really. Unfortunately it is the end of the video, but do not worry, there are many more coming. Like and subscribe for more videos from the Red Sea. Thanks for watching.